Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
From the Bible, the book of Isaiah, the following: if you do not stand firm in your faith, you will not stand at all. Amen. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot, a live living patriot right here in the Magic Valley. Our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, and of course we start a brand new week, Thanksgiving week, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and for safe wintertime driving, too. Stop into your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, and don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call them, get on the route service, 734-6969. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Well, Sunshine Superman, give us the pledge.
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much. And right now it's time for the weather, brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. Are you already overwhelmed with the holiday months coming up? Well, I'll tell you what, don't fret so much on the decor. And they've got all kinds of great decor items for you over there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. All your carpet and flooring, kitchen construction, whatever you need to make your house a home, you stop in 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Right now, here's the weather forecast.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and we do have a slight chance of rain showers for today, about a 50% chance, slightly breezy as well. Winds out of the southwest right around 11 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 47. Back to rain showers for Wednesday, high of 40. Mostly sunny for Thanksgiving Day itself, and a high of 44. Yesterday's high was 60. The overnight low was 42. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
She does a great job. Thank you very much, Gina. Brought to you by really nice folks that can help you with all your home decor issues. Whatever you need to make your house a home, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Yep, look for that blue door. I want to remind you there will be no sale this week at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. Merv May and the rest of the crew, they're going to enjoy Thanksgiving just like you. No sale this week at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard. Want to remind you, too, about Darrow's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, they can take your old rumply crumplies, and honestly, when you go to pick them up, you'll be taken aback because they'll look like they're brand new. Oh, they do a wonderful job. Kevin and Cindy and the rest of the folks at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Darrow's Cleaners. And don't forget, if you prepay, you get a 10% discount off your bill. So you be sure and get in there today and check it out at Darrow's Cleaners in Burley. Really the best. Oh, and I want to say thank you again to SafeLink Internet. They've extended their hours of technical support and increased the amount of people that are serving you. And, oh my goodness, fast, reliable, local service, and over 10,000 customers. And they'd like like to increase the list. So you give them a call and get on the program today. 677-8000. SafeLink Internet, serving you. Really good folks. All right, it's your turn. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Want to remind you, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more in the commercial coming up in just a little bit. Join us for an old-fashioned Christmas at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, Thursday, December 15th, from 8:06 in the morning until 11. And we're going to have carolers from Oakley High School, great food, prizes, Christmas the way it should be and used to be. At Denny's, great restaurant, America's Diner, December 15th. Don't forget that. Thanksgiving coming up this week, and before I get into a topic that is going to take quite a bit of time, I want to remind you that we've got a couple of locations that I've been sent information about Thanksgiving dinner. Thanksgiving dinner presented by the churches in the Minicash area is going to be presented this year at the Senior Junction, 2421 Overland Avenue in Burley, and that's going to be from 11 to 3. And then the Free Community 15th annual dinner, and boy, I'm getting a lot of pop on the line here, Wheels. Thanksgiving dinner is going to be presented by Alaska's Best and the Rupert Elks Lodge from 12 to 4 this Thursday at the Rupert Elks Dining Hall. Don't miss these Thanksgiving dinners put on for our community. You know what? I got to tell you real quick about a guy that absolutely does a phenomenal job. I bought my camper shell over at Save on Shells, and Anthony just does a wonderful job over there. You can save money on the new ARE shells, and they've got a lot of used shells and lids, quality and service. And I want to emphasize the service because I'll guarantee you that I've gone in there, had a little service work done on my camper shell, and oh my goodness, they are good. Anthony is very personable and trustworthy, and the service is impeccable. At Save on Shells, you might want to get a shell on the back of that camper for the winter so that you can store stuff in there, and it's not going to get all filled with snow and yuck and everything. Stop in and see them at Save on Shells, 1827 Overland in Burley. Okay, your calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. This story is, I hope, not a sign of other things to come in the future. I'm very worried about this story. The city of Bloomington, Indiana, has taken it upon themselves to rename Good Friday and Columbus Day because they, the city of Bloomington, Indiana, have said that it is culturally insensitive. When I first heard this story, after I bounced off about 3 or 4 walls in my home, so mad over this. Good Friday, a day that all Christians should absolutely hold dear and sacred to their hearts. The city of Bloomington, Indiana, has renamed it, saying that Good Friday is culturally insensitive. Columbus Day. There has been such an insult to Columbus Day as a federal holiday, and now they want to have that name changed. So what they're going to do is call one a spring holiday and the other one a fall holiday. Little by little in this country, those things, those names, those occasions, those holidays that we should hold dear are being transitioned and thrown away by liberalness and stupidity. And we're not fighting back. I will never, ever on this program, as long as it's on the air, go along with their culturally insensitive remarks. I will always call Christmas, Christmas. I will always call Good Friday, Good Friday. I will always call Columbus Day, Columbus Day. What do you think about this? This is absolutely taking over our society. And Columbus Day and Good Friday. What's next? What is next? The liberal left, the Democrats, deeming that those two are culturally insensitive. I want some calls on this. I want your opinion. Or don't you care? We all should. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Well, I've got a moment. I want to say Thanksgiving wishes go out from Butte Irrigation, 116 South, 600 West of Paul, and also at Red Cap Corner right there in Kimberly Road in Kimberly. Your Zomatic dealer, and they will get you wet for all your irrigation needs. Don't forget Butte Irrigation, Paul, and right there at Red Cap Corner in Kimberly. Alaska's Best, 504 7th Street in Rupert. Oh, what a great place to eat. Alaska's Best, voted the best fish available in the area. And I mean, they've lived up to it. Their hours are lunch Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 3, and dinner on Friday and Saturday evenings, 4 to 8 p.m. Happy Thanksgiving from Alaska's Best. And last but not least, we also want to say thank you very much to some more of our great folks like Streamline Precision. They want to encourage you to go up to a person in uniform, shake their hand, and say thank you. These men and women put their lives on the line every day so that we can live in a safe place in America. And thanks also to all the 4-H and FFA leaders. You are teaching the right message. From Streamline Precision, 120 South, 100 West of Burley. That was nice. Really, really nice. I appreciate that. We'll have some more of those Thanksgiving wishes in just a little bit, but I want to have your calls. Come on, give me a jingle at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am peachy. Go ahead, sir, please.
Okay. This idea of changing these holidays is their way of being able to rewrite history. Like when we get all done, there never was a World War II or any of these other events, like Veterans Day. Can you remember when it was called Armistice Day?
Yes.
Because they celebrated the Armistice.
Armistice Day, yes.
So that doesn't count anymore. You know, and this is what we're doing to our whole society. We're letting a few, say what we need to do. Pretty soon, Columbus Day will be National Democrat Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they will celebrate as such. And who discovered America? Well, I think maybe it might have been Obama.
Well, I'm not going to change, Keith. I'm not going to change a single thing that I believe in. And you said something a moment ago that if we don't stand up and we don't fight back, I absolutely am committed to fighting back. I'm not about to have some left-leaning liberal Democrat tell me I can't say Merry Christmas. I'm not about to have some liberal loon tell me that I can't call Friday during Holy Week Good Friday. I'm going to continue to do it. I will not have my free speech. I will not have what I deem very important in my life changed by a bunch of loons and people that want to transition society into being one size fits all.
Yeah, but the problem is the majority of America now, when something like this comes up, they'll say, oh, it's no big deal. It isn't to them. But it means a lot to me and you and the others that really love our country.
Absolutely. I appreciate your call as always, Keith. God bless you. And by the way, to you and Nancy for letting us share part of your anniversary cake. Good. Thank you.
I'll let the cook know.
Oh, it was delicious. Thank you so much. God bless you, man. Thanks. Thank you.
Compliment. comment.
You're welcome. Thank you. Don't forget Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459, the number to call, and they've got all your furnace filters over there. Ooh, it's supposed to start getting chilly-er. That's right, so you better make sure your furnace is working properly, and make sure it's going to have the clean air filters from Ramsey Heating and Electric. You can buy one or you can buy a case of 12. Stop in and see them today at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. The number to call, 678-0459, where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Oh, and by the way, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland in Burley. We were over there for lunch bunch, fantastic lunch bunch, and a lot of people had one version or another of all the different pancake breakfast menus available. Oh, my goodness. The pumpkin cream pancakes, the red velvet pancake puppies, the sticky bun pancakes. Oh, wow, is it good? Always is. At America's Diner, Denny's Restaurant, 611 Overland and Burley and 291 Pole Line in Twin Falls. And don't forget the Denny's Old Fashioned Christmas coming up on December 15th. Going to be a lot of fun. All right, your turn. Calls are welcome. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Honestly, I'm surprised more people aren't calling in on this. To just go ahead and say that they're going to take away Columbus Day and also Good Friday, because the city of Bloomington, Indiana, has said that those holidays with their names Good Friday and Columbus Day are culturally insensitive. Culturally insensitive to whom? Who complained? I mean, are they culturally insensitive because Good Friday is a Christian holiday, signifying that Jesus died on the cross for all of us on that Friday and rose again on Easter morning? Oh, is that insensitive to the Muslims? Who? Who really is complaining? And I'm telling you, folks, it's about time to stand up and be counted. Do you care? Come on, phone lines. We can't let this happen in Bloomington, Indiana, or Timbuktu. I don't care where it is. People need to stand up and fight back. Give me a call at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your phone call, congratulations goes out to Raft River football team. Congratulations. 1A1 champions. And congratulations also to Oakley for a great football year, Declo for a great football year. But Raft River, numero uno, great job over there, guys. Proud of you. Don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I know I missed my appointment this last week. I got so tied up with business and everything, I missed it. No, I got to get back over there. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, of course, at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Yeah, all you got to do is call and make an appointment at 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and all the physical therapists, they can and they will help you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation in Burley, 678-1191. You know, I'm really kind of shocked. What are you going to do? Say nothing when all of a sudden they come along and say, well, you can't say Easter anymore? That's culturally insensitive. Oh, and we're going to drop Christmas because that is culturally insensitive. We're going to replace it with winter holiday or whatever. And we're going to drop any and all other references to patriotic days. No more 4th of July. That might be culturally insensitive for those that are here illegally, and those that came over from the Middle East, they might not believe in the 4th of July. So we're going to get rid of the 4th of July Independence Day. And we're going to have just bland, blasé names that don't mean anything, and we want to be culturally sensitive. And Bloomington, Indiana is starting with Good Friday, a Christian holiday. Not on my watch. And I'm going to fight back, and I'd like you to stand there with me. Don't forget Barry Equipment and Rental. And they've got 3 locations to serve you. 2331 South Lincoln, Jerome, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and, of course, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Barry Equipment and Rental, and they have the equipment to get the job done right. And right now, if you buy any used rental Bobcat equipment, you get 0% interest on 48 months. Oh, my. You better check that out. They've got great equipment buys over there. Equipment rentals. It's all there for you at Barry Equipment and Rental. Jerome, Twin Falls, and 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it. Go ahead.
Good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
I think this politically correct, well, I'll let you fill in the blank there. Anyway, this politically correct stuff has got to stop, you know what I mean? I'm not going to give up acknowledging Christ, acknowledging God. And I'm not going to allow anyone to forget about those that were responsible for founding our country.
Absolutely. You know, I know who you are.
Well, we're still going to recognize Columbus Day. And Good Friday, I'm still going to recognize it. And I'm not going to stop calling either one what it is.
I agree with you. I know who you are, and I've always respected your kind of get-in-your-face attitude, and I like that because, quite frankly, I'm not going to cave in to the left-wing absolute elitists that want to change our entirety of our situation here in this country. Take care. God bless, my friend. Thank you for your call.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Give me a call on this. Come on, folks. Listen to some of the things that are so low class from the liberal Democrats, and they haven't even seen the bottom of the sewer yet. At the American Music Awards last night, a total disrespect for Trump and his family. That never happened with Obama. Oh, no, they loved old Barry. They wouldn't do anything to hurt his feelings. And some of the songs changed the lyrics to denounce Trump. It was very no class. There was extreme no class at New York's Broadway show called Hamilton. The cast, if you didn't see this on television, I'm going to tell you about it. Right after Lieutenant Governor, Vice President-elect Mike Pence and his wife and some of his family went to the Broadway show the other night called Hamilton. It is a big Broadway show. And they were seated right in the middle section of the theater. Well, after the play was over, the cast came out front on stage and walked right to center front stage, looked down on Mike Pence, and totally ridiculed him and ridiculed Donald Trump. It was so wrong. And yes, they should apologize for what they did to embarrass people that were just out on the night enjoying their family. And then this story really got to me. A family of a Gold Star hero that gave his life in Afghanistan. This family is on board a jetliner going to the funeral, and when the pilot asked all the first and second class occupants of the airplane to stay in their seats after the plane landed so that the family could be let off first and get into the cars going to the funeral, the rest of the occupants of the airplane booed the family. They booed the Gold Star family. I absolutely am so taken aback as to how the left in this country, the liberal Democrats, that's what they are, can stoop to levels as low as they have stooped. And it's going to get worse. I've got story after story after story of this liberal insanity. And that's what it is. They are insane. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Don't forget Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids with the lovely Dr. Christine Pickup, and they're located right across from Minidoka Hospital Emergency Room. The number to call for an appointment, I urge you to do so. I urge you to do it today, okay? Call them at 312-0957. 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. It's the only locally owned and independent hearing healthcare service and practice in southern Idaho. Give them a call today. Mount Harrison Audiology, 312-0957. Caller, I'm going to take a quick call, and then I'm going to give away some cookies, so go ahead real fast.
Well, between, the American Music Awards, Hamilton is about the Founding Fathers. That's what that Broadway show's about. It's about the Founding Fathers. And it doesn't matter anymore, the rest. And, if the Founding Fathers were here, they would have shunned the people that supposedly are playing them. It's a joke. And then to have people rude to a Gold Star family after they've lost their son, the ultimate sacrifice. See, but this stuff doesn't, the media can paint this how they want, but let's face it, the social media is out there and functioning. And, Trump, even when he tweets, we see those tweets, and everybody else that even if they don't watch TV, but it comes up on their phone. And these kinds of direct contact with the people, the media can't do anything about it. It is appalling what the people of this country, the liberals, and then they complain about prejudice.
Yeah.
You just want to. Thank God we elected Trump. That's a positive.
I hope, and I mean this, that he sticks to his guns, sticks to his policies, sticks to his beliefs, and absolutely forms a cabinet that is not going to weaken. We do need to get America back on track. We do need to get America back with respect. We do need to have other countries in the world fear us and respect us. But he also has policies, I hope, that are entertained in this country so that we clean up this cesspool of negativism that the liberal left is spreading. And when you talk about negativism and the cesspool of the left trying to deem Good Friday and Columbus Day as culturally insensitive, it's about high time, past time, actually, that we fought back.
I know. I think that every time they do this, the liberal media, the liberal people, the liberal entertainers, what they do is they just strengthen our resolve. And I know Mr. Trump knows how we feel, and I really believe that he knows that if he starts to waver, without being in reason, that there will be hell to pay. The only way we can make a statement in this country is to do what we did on November 8th.
I agree with you. Randy, I got to give away some cookies, buddy. Thank you so much. Before I give away those cookies, I want to remind you that if you're thinking about putting up any steel buildings on your property for your dairy, your farm, your business, whatever, you'd better get a hold of Streamline Precision. My friend Tim Vaughn right now at 431-7314. Now is the time. Now's the perfect time going into November, December, January, and February, so they're ready to go for you next spring. Call for an estimate today at 431-7314. Tim Vaughn with the best. Streamline Precision with the steel buildings from, of course, Nucor and Prime and Sukup. They're ready to work for you. Streamline Precision. Right now, also, Sophie's Chatterbox. We're going to give away some cookies quickly. So if you can answer this question, here's an easy one. First-time winners only, please. For a dozen cookies to Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert. And don't forget, what a bakery. What an absolutely delicious bakery and restaurant. And you still got a day, I think, tomorrow to get your orders in for Thanksgiving on the pies and all the biscuits and everything. Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street in Rupert, 436-0354. Here's the question. It's an easy one today. On the show, Andy of Mayberry. Remember that? Andy of Mayberry? Before Thelma Lou, who was Barney's first girlfriend? Before Thelma Lou, who was Barney's first girlfriend? First person to call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Who was Barney Fife's first girlfriend on the show, Andy of Mayberry? Everybody knows Thelma Lou, but what was the name of the girlfriend? The first one. And give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, quickly. Who was Barney Fife's first girlfriend? And while I'm waiting for that call, I'm going to tell you about Ark Animal Hospital at 750 21st Street in Heyburn. They have warm hearts for cold noses. Oh, my goodness, it's been voted Minnekash's best veterinary hospital many, many times. Dr. Bill Fulcher, Dr. Liz Schrepfer, all of these folks, mixed animal practice, big or small, they love them all. You be sure and take your pets and animals to Ark Animal Hospital in Heyburn. Number to call, 678-1177. Oh, come on. I thought that was going to be an easy one this morning. Come on, somebody give me a call real fast and let me know on the television show Andy of Mayberry, who was Barney Fife's first girlfriend? He always talked about her, and I'll give you a little clue. She worked down at the diner. What was her name? They had quite a few segments and series about Barney and his great big love with this person. What was her name on Andy of Mayberry? We have a caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Juanita?
Who is this?
This is Angela.
Angela who?
Segovia.
Wait a minute. Segovia?
Yes.
I'm going to do the best thing I can do, and that's try to spell it. But you are the winner, Angela. How did you remember that?
I always watch Barney.
Remember, he used to talk into the telephone. They had that one segment on there with Juanita.
He sings Juanita song.
Yes, absolutely. It was Juanita, and you are the lucky winner of the cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. All you got to do is call over there. Let them know when you'll be in for your cookies. A dozen delicious cookies from Sophie's. Thanks. I appreciate it, Angela. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you very much. Angela Segovia is the winner of the cookies. It was Juanita. They did some really funny sketches with Barney on the telephone with Juanita. I don't know if they ever really showed her. I don't know if they really had a segment where they showed him and her out on a date with Barney. That's one thing I'm not sure of. But he always said, I've got to get a hold of Juanita down at the diner. Caller, I'll be right there. Don't go away. Want to remind you about Minnekasha Sales. They bring you, of course, our great friend Dr. History on Tuesdays. So you stay tuned for that at 10:06 tomorrow on Tuesday. Brought to you by our friends at Minnekasha Sales. Oh, my goodness, they've got all the lumber. They've got all the roofing material. They've got all those western windows to keep the cold air out this winter. That's right. You better give them a call right now, 878-2091. Zach and the crew can send over a contractor to do the installation. Call them. Stop in. Minnekasha Sales, 1321 East Main Street in Burley, bringing you Dr. History. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning again.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to comment on the Andy Griffith Show. That's always been one of my favorites, and I still love to watch the reruns. But, every one of his shows, if you'll recall, had a teaching moment.
Yep.
And that's what I loved about it so much. That Opie, played the part of, well, it wasn't Opie, but he was...
No. It was Opie. It was Ron Howard that played Opie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he went on to get more into directing and everything, but just, I always went away after I'd seen those shows feeling better about everything.
I did too.
Warm show.
I agree with you.
You know, these other shows like Father Knows Best and some of those older ones like that, they had good moments, but they portrayed the family not like the average family. You know, everything was perfect. And Andy Griffith, you know, he lived in a house, and Aunt Bee did the cooking and the cleaning and everything, and he was a sheriff, and he, you know, it just was a wonderful, wonderful show.
I agree with you, and thank you for calling back on that. I feel the same way you do. That was humor, and it was family content shows that we long for today, believe me. Keith, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You bet. Bye-bye.
All right, God bless. Yep, I still sit down and watch a lot of those reruns of Andy of Mayberry. You know, they're walking along on an old dusty path, and Opie reaches down, throws a rock into the river, and skips a rock, and then they're going fishing, and oh, man, great characters in that show. Aunt Bee and Andy Griffith, of course, and Ron Howard. Barney Fife, played by, do you know, that guy, absolutely, Don Knotts did such a phenomenal job with that character. A real, true, funny man. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, got a brand new sponsor on our program this morning. Say thank you to Bedke Treasure Barn. They're located at 1558 Normal Avenue on the corner of 16th and Normal in Burley. Boy, you talk about a great big inventory and a unique inventory. They've got sofas to love seats, to table and chair sets, to pool tables, to salon barber chairs. I'm not kidding you. Vintage chairs. I mean, you might want some very unique gift giving. They've got it at Bedke Treasure Barn. They've got tools from table saws to hand saws. They got collectible toys. They've got it all. All you need to do is just stop in and check it out. Talk to Daryl, and you can call them too at 878-2015. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 5. Bedke Treasure Barn at 1558 Normal Avenue in Burley on the corner of 16th and Normal. You're going to find what you're looking for at Bedke Treasure Barn. Sounds like a neat place. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Let's see what else is in the news. Let me take a look here. Facebook. This really bothers me. Facebook has decided that, along with what Barack Obama said, that everybody in the country needs to clean up fake news. Okay, that sounds good on the surface, but wait a minute. Who, sound like an owl, who is going to be the censor? Who is going to decide in a free society what is fake news, bad news, news that you shouldn't know about? Who? Who is going to do that in a free society? I don't want somebody with Facebook or Google or anybody else deciding that, oh, well, Zeb can't hear this. No, right-wingers can't hear this. They might be all incensed. So we'll clean it up and we'll change it. This is very worrisome to me this morning, and it should be to you also. Who is going to censor the news? I do my own checking through Snopes and other sources before I put anything on the air. Anything on the air. And I think it behooves us to be that diligent and that professional, but I don't like the idea that somebody might try to sanitize stories before I have a chance to check them out on my own merit and give you the truth on this program. Time for the weather, and the weather's brought to you by the Urgent Cares. My goodness, my computer is doing funny things. John must be playing again. The Urgent Cares, Riverview Urgent Care, 382 North Overland and Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, 2392 Addison Avenue East in Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care, 133 West Avenue A in Jerome. Don't forget, they've got all the flu shots. And I'll tell you what, a lot of coughs and fevers and sinus infections going on right now. Well, by golly, they can treat all of this and more. You be sure and stop in at any of those 3 locations. They're open 7 days a week. The Urgent Care's serving you. And you can go to their website, and that's urgentcareofidaho.com. Check it out today at the Urgent Cares. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and we do have a slight chance of rain showers for today, about a 50% chance, slightly breezy as well. Winds out of the southwest right around 11 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 47. Back to rain showers for Wednesday, high of 40. Mostly sunny for Thanksgiving Day itself, and a high of 44. Yesterday's high was 60. The overnight low was 42. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
I appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. And don't forget, flu shots at the Urgent Cares. Whether it's minor emergency, major care, they can serve you. Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, Twin Falls Urgent Care, Twin Falls, and Jerome Urgent Care in Jerome. Let's get some calls over here at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here's another story that when I read this, I just sat back and I said, oh my goodness, how could this even happen? Now, this would not happen and did not happen in any school regarding Barack Obama. Donald Trump's mock assassination draws ire at Texas high school. That's the headline. That's the headline. Here's what happened. And I'm reading from the Washington Post. 2 Texas students and their teacher were reprimanded after the 10th graders performed a skit portraying the assassination of President-elect Donald Trump. What? Yeah, it's true. One of the boys used a gunfire sound effect from a cell phone, while the other student who was portraying Trump fell to the floor, according to the San Antonio Express News. The skit, titled "The Assassination of Donald Trump," was performed as a class presentation last week for the students' English class at John Marshall High School in San Antonio. President-elect Trump and these liberal, knot-headed kids and their teacher allowing this to happen. Donald Trump's mock assassination draws ire at Texas high school. Parents were outraged. A parent of a student who watched the skit, Harold Bean, told the newspaper in San Antonio he doesn't believe the teacher's apology was enough, saying it does not make the situation right. He said, quote, "Honestly, I have run out of words to describe how angry I am and how shocked I am that they're still in school today." What's going on in our world? Honestly, I want you to tell me this, please. What's going on in our world? There is no sanity anymore. There is no sense of right and wrong. There is no sense of, well, I shouldn't do that because that's not the way things are done. Just do it. Who cares about the consequences? If you're a liberal, you've got so many people backing you with this absolutely repulsive attitude that they're displaying all across this country. Bill de Blasio, another one, mayor of New York City. He has absolutely got to be the president of the NRB, which means not real bright. He said no, he won't allow any money from his state or his city coffers to go towards the protection of Trump going back and forth to Trump Tower. But yet at the same time, Mayor Stupid de Blasio is allowing New York to be the biggest sanctuary city possibly in the United States, and he's spending millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars on aid, welfare, etc. to illegal aliens. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. And I guess I'm a little bit miffed, if you will, that we haven't heard from a lot more people on this morning. This is nuts what's going on in this country. We're going into Thanksgiving. Is that a holiday that the liberal left is going to look at maybe not this year, but maybe next year or in the future as being culturally insensitive? Oh, well, no, wait a minute. We can't allow this. No, the Pilgrims were bad people, and they had guns, and they didn't like the Indians, and they started all the problem back there from Plymouth Rock going westward, and so we can't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's culturally insensitive. Are we going to allow that? And then 4 weeks hence, well, no, there's too many people in this country that don't believe in Jesus Christ as their Savior, and they're not Christians, and so when we have Christmas, that's culturally insensitive, and we've got to stop it. Where does it end? Where does it end when you and I and everybody else doesn't stand up and say, enough is enough? Call me, please, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Ay. I'm telling you, it's enough to just curdle your milk, isn't it? I'm telling you, it's crazy out there. Don't forget, I got to brag a little bit about Anthony over at Save on Shells, 1827 Overland in Burley. I bought my camper shell there. I have absolutely loved it, and the service is impeccable. Quality, service, low prices. Call Anthony at 312-1525. That's the number to call ahead, 312-1525. He has got all the camper shells brand new from ARE, a lot of used shells and lids. I'm telling you, if you're home for Thanksgiving, this would be an ideal time to go take your pickup in there and get either a new or used shell. Boy, they have got just what you're looking for, and Anthony is one nice person. 312-1525, Save on Shells, 1827 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see him today. Tell him I sent you. I'll tell you what, good old boy. All right, calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One other thing, let's see. The Obamas bought another house. Yeah, I thought I'd tell you about that. They bought another house on the left coast out in California. That brings to a total of 5 homes that they own right now. Old Barack's doing pretty good, isn't he? Caller, welcome. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, I guess the thing that worries me about as much as anything right now is that how accepting we become of all of these things that used to be sacred to us.
You know, Bert, you're right. I was born and raised in a house that we honored Good Friday. We honored it to the point where at noon my dad was let off of work from a huge factory in Jefferson, Wisconsin. And we went to church at exactly 3 o'clock on Friday afternoon. We absolutely honored all the holidays of Christmas, and we honored Columbus Day. We honored everything in this country. Now everything is being put asunder by the liberal left, and it's being called culturally insensitive. Where does it stop, Bert?
Well, that's what worries me a little. Look at all of the officers over the weekend that either have been shot and killed. What was there, 4 of them?
Yep, that's right.
Weekend,
yep.
2 of them, 1 of them killed, and then 3 of them injured. Well, we have no respect for human life anymore. The other thing, Zeb, that just gets under my hide a little bit here. Christmas has been out now since before Halloween.
Yeah.
We haven't even had Thanksgiving, and boy, we ought to be thankful for all that we have in this country.
I wrote
And yet, everything is so commercialized.
I agree with you. I wrote a blog this last week about Thanksgiving and my personal Thanksgiving attitude. I could not agree with you more that we have commercialized everything for the almighty dollar. I absolutely point my finger at any and all merchants that had to get out way before Halloween with all their Christmas due. I'm absolutely sickened by what's going on in this country. They're making a big buck off of these holidays, and we've forgot the real meaning. But I'll tell you something, Bert. If we don't stand up and demand that the liberal left put a line in the sand not to cross, because I'm personally going to be there to fight them, we've got to stand up for Christmas. We've got to stand up for Good Friday. We've got to stand up for a lot of things, because like the old song says, if you can't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything.
You're right there, Zeb. So, anyway, have a happy Thanksgiving, Zeb.
God bless you and Elaine, and thank you for being our friends. Thank you so much.
Okay.
God bless you. Thank you. Want to remind you about your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And they've got this great little brochure. I've read it about 10 times about all the winter driving and what do you have to do to drive every winter. I mean, checking your batteries and making sure you know how to put on tire chains and the right tires for the right circumstances and everything, and what to do and what not to do if you're in certain conditions. Hey, I'm telling you, they've got all the tires for your safe driving. They've got all, of course, the best in brake service, front end alignment, shocks and struts, and batteries, and the best in service, get you in, get you out, get you back on the road. I'm telling you, stop in today and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. You stop in and see them today. We are going to take a little break right now and let Wheels carry the ball up to the CBS News, and then we'll be back next hour with Tom Pyle with the Institute for Energy Research, with Obama signing an edict that bans anything as far as oil exploration in the Arctic. And then at 9:30, the Alliance Defending Freedom. So stay tuned, Zeb at the Ranch. I'll be right back. Oh, here we go. Hour number 2. Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning. Cloudy outside today. I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations in the Magic Valley, serving you for safe wintertime driving, and along with some of our great advertisers like Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Always at your disposal, man, that is so true. Locally owned and operated, and they really, really do a great job for you. You know, they offer the Go Minis. You can fill those up, those storage units on your place, and store them there, or you can call them and they'll come store them on their property. What a service. I mean, they pick up your garbage. They've got all the dumpsters. They've got the Go Minis. My goodness sakes, call them today at 734-6969. Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Hey, don't forget, every morning at 8:06 we start our show with our weather forecast, brought to you by some wonderful, wonderful people, and that's, of course, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for that blue door. Whatever you need to make your house a home, that's it. It's all there at Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. And don't forget, they bring you the weather at 8:06 every morning. Thank you very much. Oh, and let's see, what else have we got here real quick I got to remind you of. We've got a great big Christmas doings coming up on December the 15th. Join us, please. Last year was such a huge success, and you folks out in the audience really supported it. Thank you. Join us for an old-fashioned Christmas at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner, Thursday, December 15th from 8 in the morning to 11. I'll be broadcasting there live. We're going to have carolers. I understand this is a great choir from Oakley High School singing Christmas carols. We're going to have fantastic food, prizes, Christmas the way it should be at Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner on December 15th. Come on down and join us, okay? We'll look forward to having you there. Right now, we're going to go to the phone line, and I'm very honored to have this gentleman back again this morning. I know it's a busy week with Thanksgiving and everything, but I'm very fortunate to have friends that lined up Tom Pyle with the Institute of Energy Resources and Research. Thank you very much, Tom. How are you this morning?
Doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me on again.
Well, may I also extend to you happy Thanksgiving, leading further to a happy and Merry Christmas, too, my dear friend. Thank you for being on the program. What's going on? I told a lot of people over the many, many days that Obama has been in office for 8 years, that when it got close to the end of his tenure as president, he would probably pull some rabbits out of the hat that we didn't want to hear about. And it looks like they're shutting the door on Arctic drilling. What's going on up there?
Yeah, this is President Obama's farewell gift to the extreme environmentalists. Basically, we're going to see a lot of this over the next 60 days. President is not giving up on his quest to demonize the greatest resources that power our economic engine, and this is just one I expect of many decisions that President-elect Trump will have to manage when he assumes the presidency.
Tom, in your professionalism and expertise, what does this mean? I mean, what's it going to do? What's it not going to do? What happens here?
Well, what it does is basically just, tie up the Department of Interior temporarily until they issue new rules and regulations on how to proceed with providing access to all forms of energy, by the way, not just oil and gas, on our federal lands. My understanding is that, and President-elect Trump promised that he would restore some sanity in our energy environmental policies. He understands and recognizes that our greatest resources, we have the most oil and gas and coal underneath our shores and lands than anyone else in the world. And he wants to utilize those to revive our economy and help make us a prosperous nation and provide opportunities for everybody.
When you look at this issue up in the Arctic and the drilling, and what about the people up in Alaska? Has anybody really asked them what they want? Has anybody sat down and asked them if they wanted to see a refurbishment to their economy? I mean, what about American jobs? What does this mean of what Obama said no to?
Yeah, so, before the shale revolution, before the advances in technology that allowed us to access our oil and gas in places like Pennsylvania and Ohio and North Dakota, Alaska was our biggest, most bountiful region in terms of oil and gas production. And we have still plenty of resources up there that they're available for us. And we have a strategic asset in what's called the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. And over the Obama years, the oil flowing through that pipeline has declined. And if we don't continue to produce oil up there, they run the risk of shutting that pipeline down, and that is, from our national security perspective, a very bad thing. And so, Alaskans want these resources to be utilized. They know how they understand that it can be done responsibly, that you can balance the needs for energy production with fisheries and with all the wonderful, beautiful opportunities we have up in Alaska. And this basically is a thumb in their eye, this 5-year plan with, cutting off those resources on the federal land.
Tom, I've talked to a lot of people up in Alaska, and as a matter of fact, my weatherman that used to be on this program was from Alaska, and the general consensus was, what in the world is all the to-do about it? It hasn't done a thing with the pipelines, etc., in Alaska to harm anything, harm any nature, it hasn't harmed any of the wildlife, and it's just nothing more than pandering to the environmentalists. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. In fact, this has been 8 years of pandering to the environmentalists. We have our energy policies are severely out of whack. And, my understanding is from his comments on the campaign trail, President-elect Trump has promised to restore some balance and some sanity to those policies, and it'll begin with opening up for responsible oil and gas drilling our federal lands. And I'm not talking, we're not talking oil wells in the Grand Canyon. We're not talking drilling rigs in the West Wing, in the White House. Federal government is the largest landowner in the United States. We are not utilizing those resources for any energy production of any kind because of the way that they've treated the federal lands over the past 8 years. And so I think there's going to be a reset of that, and it's going to come, in short order.
Let me back up one square on the Monopoly board here this morning for a moment, Tom, and ask you about your thoughts about the Trump campaign and now the Trump administration in naming an energy secretary. Some people have talked to Rick Perry from Texas that he might be the man. What are your thoughts? How effective or ineffective is that energy secretary for the Trump administration?
Well, the Energy Secretary, it's interesting. The Energy Secretary is mainly responsible for our nuclear programs, and they have a bunch of applied research agencies, and lately, under President Obama, they've been acting like a slush fund for loans and grants and giveaways for wind and solar. A lot of that's going to have to be reorganized over in that agency. The Department of Interior is the place that sets the rules for how to produce energy, oil and gas, and other types of resources. And so working together, they're going to have a big role. But really it's the Department of Interior that sort of sets the ground rules for where we can produce and how.
Tom, you would know the answer to this next thought of mine probably better than anyone. I look for, and I hope it doesn't get as serious as I think it could be, but I look for a severe clash, kind of like a cavalry charge on each side, with the Trump people and those of us that want energy exploration. We want new forms of energy checked out. We want to have a more economical form of energy so that this country can grow. And on the other side, charging down the hill, are the environmentalists with a lot of big money behind them, like Tom Steyer's, George Soros, et cetera. How big is this clash going to be?
Well, as we can see from the press reports, the national environmental groups have already ran out their fundraising solicitations, and they've basically said that they're going to do everything they can in their power to stop this forward progress. So it will be a clash for the ages. To be candid with you, they have a lot of resources. They've tied up a lot of rules and regulations in the past through the courts and everything else. And so we, groups like mine, need to be out there very vocal and providing intellectual support and advocacy and be cheerleaders for this new direction, because they're going to try to drown out that progress, and they're going to try and stop it at every turn.
Yeah, but here's the but. I'm very concerned about one other segment of our society, Tom, and that's the unknowledgeable, uneducated, led by the nose millennials in our school systems, our high schools, our colleges and universities, by left-wing professors that are absolutely on the hook, biting the worm of the big money people like Tom Steyer. How are we going to overcome that?
Well, we have to start by pushing back. We have to start by, it starts at home, really. These guys are in bed, if you will, with that agenda. Students have to get their information from other sources. They're only going to hear one side of this equation, and it is going to be a challenge. There's no doubt about it. But we have to drown out those voices with good information and provide the other side of the story whenever and wherever we can.
While I've got you on the air here this morning, I wanted to ask you about some other energy topic that makes me very mad, very frustrated, and I think it's highly illegal, even though they're not being chastised for their actions, and that's the Indian tribes back in the Dakotas on that Dakota pipeline, taking up residence, blocking this, causing all kinds of trouble, actually creating fires, which, of course, is environmental damage, but nobody says anything to them. Why are they being allowed to stay there? Is the government afraid side, or are they using the Indians as activists for their cause?
Well, the activists themselves are exploiting the tribe, in my opinion. I mean, look, pipelines are safe. We've been building pipelines in this country for 50-plus years. They are being built above aquifers, below rivers. When a leak happens, and it's unfortunate that it does, pipelines are the best way to contain that leak because the technology exists where you can close the pipe off on both ends of the leak, and you can restore any damage that's caused on site in near instantaneously. When you have, you're not utilizing those assets, you increase rail traffic, truck traffic, and everything else, and that puts people in jeopardy, right? That those explosions, those things run the risk of hurting real people. It's never good when a pipeline leaks, but again, it's just so easy to contain, and then the cleanup begins almost instantaneously. So I feel strongly that these tribes are being exploited by these environmental organizations.
I was reading another piece about this before I had you on the air this morning, and it said at the bottom of this piece that was turned out by Fox News, it said, nearly 400 scientists signed a letter this summer urging Obama to eliminate the possibility of Arctic offshore drilling. Who are these people? Name them. Don't just say 400 scientists. I don't trust this administration, and I certainly have been lied to by Obama and his people before.
That's right. That's the game, right? They're trying to create an issue where there isn't one, and if they did care the way they claim they care, they would recognize that, and this is the absolute truth. Oil and gas production is good for the economy. It's good for the environment as well. We are living longer. We're healthier because we have access to affordable and reliable energy, and that's just the name of the game. And so these groups, if they really cared about the environment, they would be working, putting their resources towards actually cleaning the air, actually cleaning the water, putting their money where their mouth is, as opposed to hiring lawyers from New York and San Francisco.
Tom, when you look at the next 4 years, and really there's kind of a minimization of 4 years because, man, there's a lot to get done in a short period of time to try to revocate what Obama has tried to put asunder. Are you optimistic that this administration, with good people running the various cabinets, especially the energy position, et cetera, we can turn this thing around and become a much stronger nation energy-wise?
Yeah, I absolutely believe it. Where the most important thing there is leadership, and President-elect Trump has shown throughout his whole life that he is a leader, that he understands the importance of economic opportunity, and so far everything I've seen is that he has been bold and decisive, and I don't see that changing in the near future.
All right. Well, Tom, I really want to tell you how much I appreciate it. Anything more about the gas drilling up in the Arctic? Can this be one final thought I had? If Obama leaves office in 58 days, which that's 57 days too many, what about revocating this? How long would it take for Donald Trump to turn this bus around?
Well, the president tried to ram what he called a cap-and-trade bill through Congress in 2010 when he had a majority in the House and a supermajority in the Senate, and he failed. And from that point forward, he famously used his pen and phone to try and do what he could not do, get through the will of the people through Congress. And so, you live by the pen and the phone, and you die by the pen and the phone. And, President-elect Trump will be able to utilize executive orders, and he will direct his agencies to unwind this extreme agenda that has been put forth by President Obama.
At the pump, with people traveling more, people putting more money back into their pocket instead of down the drain with the gas pumps, how good and stationary are prices going to stay in this country? Do you look for any drastic increases or, for that matter, any drastic reductions?
Yeah, that's always hard to predict because, oil prices are set on the global market. But look, logically, we're producing more energy in this country. When we export more energy in this country, the supply increases. That relieves pressure, right? So I think that if we're going to finally get the federal lands back in this game as well, I think that motorists, you and I, we're going to probably be able to enjoy at least a reasonable price at the pump for the foreseeable future.
Well, Tom, I want to wish you a very happy Thanksgiving week, and I certainly hope you get that favorite part of the turkey, whether it's the leg or whatever. Have a great week, and I'll look forward to having you back. Tom Pyle with the Institute for Energy Research. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, sir. Oh, my goodness. Very interesting and informative gentleman right there. Tom Pyle with the Institute for Energy Research back in Washington, D.C. And Obama, of course, slamming the door shut on Arctic drilling. You know, he's been in bed with the environmentalists. And now Trump is going to have to undo all the mess that Obama has tried to impose on us. All right, let's, excuse me, I got a little frog in my throat again this morning. I apologize for that. Hey, by the way, have you heard what's going on at Quali's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls? Oh, my goodness. All this week, they've got the Black Friday prices. You don't have to get up early Friday morning, just Friday morning on Black Friday and get these prices. It's all week long right now at Quali's Electronics. Crazy low prices, like a Samsung 32-inch smart TV for just $149. Oh, my goodness. How about this Wi-Fi ready Blu-ray players, just $49.99, and you can save $120 on the LG 55-inch smart TV, now only $479 all week. You don't have to wait for Black Friday. Know what's going on now at Quali's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. You stop in and see those good folks today. By the way, on this program, so many, nice people over the many, many years. And we say thank you very much to Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, with Joel Heward, the manager, his family, and their staff, always serving you and your family when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards, with unquestioned integrity. I highly suggest you call them today and get information on pre-planning of funerals. It would really save a lot of the stress and worry for your family. Call them at 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert. You can always rely and trust them. They are serving you and taking care of your family. All right, thank you very much. And right now, we've got time for maybe a phone call or two before we go to our next guest. And while I'm waiting for your call, I want to remind you, too, about Magic Valley Irrigation. 44 East, 500 South of Burley. They say happy Thanksgiving to all the folks out here in the audience. My goodness, wonderful people. And they're saying that they want to say thank you to all the farmers and ranchers that produce the food for us and make this area the best area to live in. Jeff and the crew wish you a very happy Thanksgiving at Magic Valley Irrigation, 44 East, 500 South of Burley. I'll be right there, caller. Stand by. And don't forget, too, Streamline Precision. Yes, sir, at 120 South and 100 west of Burley, 678-9204. You can save money on steel buildings with their expertise in manufacturing and contracting. Streamline Precision has everything you need under one roof, and they want to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving. Also, our friends at Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 west, 1000 south of Burley, they thank all their customers for their business, and it's a pleasure to have customers that feel like family and friends. Don't forget our friends at Golden Valley Warehouse, 468 west, 1000 south of Burley, saying happy Thanksgiving. There you go. All right, caller, quickly, you're on the air. Thank you very much.
Well, Zeb, I just wanted to thank you this morning and start the week by thanking you for giving us an opportunity to say things like, God bless you and your wonderful wife and all of your family, and happy holidays to you and yours and everybody out there. And I just want to real quickly call out to everybody that was supporters for Trump. It's a great opportunity for us to quit moaning and quit being apathetic. Realize that we're no longer the minority and be treated that way. Let's go out to let's support our county and city meetings and go out and make a change. This is our opportunity to make a change, and we do have that opportunity. Let's use it wisely and do the best we can.
Oh, my goodness, sir. That was one of the best synopsis of where we are, where we should be, I've heard in a long time. God bless you and your family. Happy Thanksgiving, and thank you so much for your call this morning. I appreciate it. God bless.
Bye.
Thank you. That was nice. You know, we do have an opportunity. I am not going to weaken. I am not going to willow in the wind of the left wing, these liberal knotheads. No, I'm not. I go back to the first hour where Bloomington, Indiana's city said they're not going to have Good Friday anymore. They're not going to call it that. And they're not going to have Columbus Day anymore. They're going to change the names because Good Friday and Columbus Day are culturally insensitive. This is complete insanity, and we've got to stand up and say, nope, wait a minute, line in the sand, don't cross it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that call. I want to remind everybody, too, about Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. The best with life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, employee benefits. They care. They really, really care. And they can serve you. All you have to do to make an appointment is call them, and they'll go over your insurance portfolio, and then they can make the very professional recommendations to better serve you. 436-4424. That's the number for Cameron and Siemens Insurance. Highway 24 in Rupert. You call them for an appointment today. And before we get our guest with the Alliance Defending Freedom on the air with us this morning, I also want to remind you about Let's Ride. Oh, my, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. Yeah, you saw some of those football games this weekend where there was snow on the ground. Well, it's coming here, too, and they've got all kinds of brand-new snow machines over there at Let's Ride. Oh, hit the slopes, have fun outside in the angel dandruff. They've got new snowmobiles coming in every day, but I want to remind you, too, they're having great low closeout prices on most of the 2016 four-wheelers and side-by-sides. Oh, my goodness, great place to Christmas shop, too. They've got all the accessories, and they've got a fantastic service department where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the world. You stop over and see them today. I'm going to go to the phone line right now, and I have a young lady that has been on my program, I think, about 5 or 6 times in the past, and I'm looking forward to having her back on this morning as we're going to be discussing a court case that we've had on my program many times in the past. Good morning to Kelly Fedoruk. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing well. How are you?
Well, Kelly, with all the insanity that's going on in our nation, and the liberal filth of the left is becoming predominant. Bring us up to speed on what's happening to a lady up in Richland, Washington. I know that area very well. And she ran a flower shop, and all of a sudden she is being literally run out of town, run out of business on a rail. What's going on up there?
Well, just by way of background, I know we've talked about this case in your show before, but just to make sure listeners know, Baronell is a 72-year-old grandmother, wife, artist, and she's been in the creative floral business for over 40 years, really serving her community, a pillar in the Tri-Cities area in Washington. And she had served her friend Rob Ingersoll for 10 years, creating all sorts of floral arrangements for him, really enjoyed creating for him and his partner. And his sexual orientation, never mattered to her. And when he came and asked her to do one event, to do his same-sex wedding ceremony, that because of her belief about marriage, she had to refer him to other florists because she couldn't create floral arrangements for an event that violated her faith. And when she did so, they hugged. She thought everything was fine. He left. He said he understood. And yet a week later, the Washington State Attorney General filed a lawsuit against her, not only her business, but also against her personally. And now she faces losing everything she owns, including her life savings, her home, her business, simply because she can't participate in an event and speak a message that the government wants her to speak, but that violates her conscience.
Kelly, this is just the tip of the iceberg, in my opinion. You're the attorney, so you can tell me if I'm way off base or not. But it is really no different, is it not, if I refuse on my radio program to accept advertising from a certain business that I don't deem as part of my value system? What would be the difference if all of a sudden I said I wouldn't take certain ads? Could these same people come after me?
Well, it would depend on the law and the content, if they would even have a grounds to. But the point you raise is well taken, and that is the government cannot compel people to speak a message or to not to speak. They can't force you to participate in an event or endorse an event or support a race or a charitable dinner or whatever the case might be if it violates your core beliefs. I mean, this is what makes America so unique and diverse, in that a lot of us have varying and different viewpoints, so we're all allowed to not only believe them, but to act upon them. And that's what makes democracy and the American experiment so wonderful, and that we can all live together in this very unique way.
I want to go back and I want to ask you about this gentleman that turned on the owner of this florist shop after they'd had a friendship for quite some time. What happened here? Who really got in his ear as far as possibly saying, hey, you can be a promotional lawsuit for our cause? What do you think happened there?
Well, after the Washington State Attorney General sued Baronell in really an unprecedented fashion, we've never seen an Attorney General go after one of its own citizens in such a way, and instead of protecting her constitutional freedoms, instead threaten them and violate them. But in addition to that lawsuit, the ACLU also filed a lawsuit against Baronell and her floral shop on behalf of the same-sex couple. But I think what we're seeing here is real coercion. No American should be forced by the government or by another citizen to say things or participate in events against his or her will. And yet that is exactly what's at stake. What's at stake in this case is really not just Baronell's freedom, but the freedom of all of us, all Americans. Namely, will we remain free from government coercion and punishment to express our beliefs in our daily lives, including our work?
I've got to be admitting to you that I'm a little confused. A lot of store owners, you've seen it 1,000 times, so have I, have signs at the front of their business that says something to the effect that we reserve the right to refuse business, et cetera, et cetera. No shirt, no shoes, no service. I mean, what's the difference, if you will, with that being called discriminatory versus what she's doing and saying, no, I'm just not going to disavow my faith. I'm not going to do a cake for that wedding or that floral arrangement, whatever it might be. I don't see the difference.
Well, at the end of the day, I think what we're seeing is that the government can't come in and tell you what events you have to participate in. Every American, including artists or florists, are free to express their beliefs in their daily lives. And you don't abandon those freedoms when you open a creative business. And what we're seeing right now is really interesting in the clothing designer who said, you know what, I don't agree with President-elect Trump and what he stands for. I don't want to design dresses and use my artistic talent to design dresses for Melania Trump. That's perfectly within her freedom to do so. And indeed, she's being lauded by many for making that decision. But the same principle should also apply to Baronell. Baronell should not be compelled to use her artistic talent to create floral arrangements for an event she doesn't agree with. So I think this principle should apply across the board, but unfortunately we're seeing this trend where if you act to assume with a belief that is not in lockstep with the current government ideology, then the government will come after you and try to punish you and literally strip away everything you own simply for standing consistent with your beliefs.
I would imagine, Kelly, that the LGBT and their insidious lawyers and coffers filled with money by those on the liberal left that want to see the absolute destruction of this lady or any other stories like it, they've got a ton of money on their side. How is this case going? I mean, really, give us an update as to what's going on here.
So last week we had oral arguments in Barronell's case before the Washington State Supreme Court, and we thought the arguments went really well. There were good questions asked by many of the justices, and 2 points. One, the Washington State Attorney General made a significant concession. He conceded that when Barronell creates floral arrangements, he does engage in speech, and that was an important concession. The frightening part of what the Attorney General said was his argument that even though these businesses are engaging in speech, he said that they basically have no First Amendment freedoms. If you open a business, the government should be able to force you to participate in events with which you disagree. So, an example that he gave would be if you're a poet and someone asks you to write poetry, you have to write whatever message they ask you, even if you disagree with that. Another example would be if you're a speechwriter, he would argue that a Democrat speechwriter should be forced to write a speech for Donald Trump. And so that is a very chilling, frightening assertion to make, that no longer are you protected by the First Amendment. That's not only unconstitutional, it's fundamentally un-American.
Wait a minute. Here I go with my cowboy mind racing ahead here a little bit. You made the statement, Kelly, that the left is saying that when you open up a business, basically, correct me if I'm wrong and I heard wrong, that you no longer have any First Amendment rights. Is that basically what they're saying?
Yes, exactly. That's what the Attorney General argued, is that if you open a business, then you no longer have First Amendment freedoms, which means the government can compel you or force you to speak a message or participate in an event that violates your convictions or even the very mission of your business, which really, I think it's important to take a step back here, and they should realize what it looks like when that shoe's on the other foot. So would they be okay with forcing an atheist to sing at a Christian Easter service? Probably not. And that's, again, why the Constitution is so important and why the government is supposed to be the greatest protector of every American's freedom, so that we can all live consistent with our beliefs, and regardless of what those beliefs might be.
And this is so insane that the government is getting involved in this type of thing. Maybe my analogy is a poor one, but I'm going to throw it out at you just the same. If a businessman doesn't have a right of his First Amendment rights any longer, and he can't speak out or he can't have his business do things according to his rules and wishes, then guys that own sports teams like Jerry Jones with the Dallas Cowboys, how can he impose that all the players wear the same uniform? I mean, the rules in our society are being thrown away and discarded by the liberal left. This has got to stop, Kelly. It's got to stop.
Well, it does, and I think it's important to remember that at the end of the day, the Constitution, it protects both the freedom to believe and the freedom to express those beliefs. Last week, the Washington Attorney General only said that you have the freedom to believe, but that's fundamentally false. We also have that freedom to express those beliefs. So, if Barronell loses this case, she loses everything she owns simply for declining one event for her longtime friend and customer because of her beliefs about marriage. And that's not all right. That's not what the Constitution protects, and that's contrary to freedom. So what's at stake here, why every single person in this country should be caring about this case and following it closely, is that the outcome will determine whether or not each of us remains free to live, to work, and to act consistent with our beliefs without fear that the government will punish us.
I know the area very well that she is from. What about the other businesses? What about the other citizens? What about the community itself? What are their feelings about this?
Well, if you were there last week, Jeb, one of the things I've been saying ever since was in the court of public opinion, if the court of public opinion were to rule in Barronell's case, Barronell and indeed all Americans' freedom of speech and conscience win, hands down. It was incredible to see the outpouring of support for her freedom, for justice to be delivered in her case. We had over 500 people show up that day in Bellevue, many of them traveling hours from across the state to come and show their support for her. We had people who came even from other states coming to Washington State to stand with her, to hold signs that said, let freedom bloom, free to create, justice for Barronell. And so I think that the outpouring of support coming from very diverse circles, both within Washington State and outside, shows that Americans are waking up and realizing there's a lot at stake here. This is bigger than even Barronell's freedom. This is everyone's freedoms are on the line here.
Well, I tell you what, I'm so happy, and I mean that the Alliance Defending Freedom, with people like yourself, Attorney Kelly Fedoruk, involved. And what do you look for as a timetable as to when this thing might come to a finalization? I mean, have they said anything?
Well, generally the Washington State Supreme Court rules between 90 and 120 days after it hears oral argument. So I think we could hear from them a decision probably in February, March, late winter, early spring time frame. So we're excited to see what the court will do. But regardless, we know that when the government has the power to arbitrarily veto constitutional freedoms and punish citizens for exercising those freedoms, there really is no freedom. So what the court should do is it should uphold Barronell's freedoms and allow her to continue to live and to work consistent with her sincerely held beliefs.
Absolutely. Kelly Fedoruk, I thank you so much on behalf of the Alliance Defending Freedom for being on our program. I thank you for all you do. Please keep us informed of this case and come back soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much, Jeff, for having me on.
All right. Take care. Thank you. There's just another cog in the wheel as to what is going wrong in this country because we've let things go to the liberal left, the insane liberal left. This poor lady, her faith said, no, I'm just not going to support by providing any services to a gay marriage. I'm not going to do it. I don't believe in it. What happened in this country that our faith and our First Amendment rights are being stripped, and we all have to fall into a liberal lockstep? Thou shalt follow the government and its edicts, or else we will get you. Kind of sounds like back in 1939 and 1940, doesn't it? Time for the weather forecast, and Deanne just came in and gave me her complete, unabridged weather forecast. It's cold and it's snowing outside. Yes, we do have a little snow falling here. Oh. Well, the weather is brought to you by Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs. Curtis Pope, Todd Phillips, Rob Oaks, Mitch Goodwin, Lyden Crane. They've been providing accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. The best of tax return preparation, tax planning, business consulting, bookkeeping services, retirement planning. The list goes on. They really know and they really care. Call them today, please. 2 locations, Burley and Rupert. That's Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin, and Company CPAs serving you. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and we do have a slight chance of rain showers for today. About a 50% chance, slightly breezy as well. Winds out of the southwest, right around 11 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 47. Back to rain showers for Wednesday, high of 40. Mostly sunny for Thanksgiving Day itself, and a high of 44. Yesterday's high was 60. The overnight low was 42. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
And great job, Gina. Thank you. Brought to you by some really good folks. I know because I take my business there. Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs, and the location 1710 Overland Avenue in Burley and 625th Street in Rupert. You be sure and get a hold of them today. The end of the year's coming up. For all your tax planning and preparation, they can help and they will help. Pope Phillips, Oaks, Goodwin and Company, CPAs. I've got time for a couple of calls. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to go back and say again what I said to Kelly Fedoruk just a few minutes ago. I am very selective about the people that are on my program as advertisers and sponsors. My business, or for that matter, anything with any radio station, could be subject to being forced into promoting an illicit business or illegal act or something that you find immoral or against your biblical standards, like what happened to that lady up in Richland, Washington. And if that happens on this program, there'll be a couple of things. Number one, I'd fight it. Number two, I would just walk away from the program and say that if the government's going to get involved in telling me that I have to run a certain ad or I have to run a promotion for a certain business that I deem absolutely against my value system, ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to happen. That's when the doors will be closed and the mics will go silent. Of course, that's what they want. That's what the left wants. They want to force and coerce people into promoting their filth, their sleaze, and their absolute negativity. And I just absolutely salute the Alliance Defending Freedom for getting involved. There's a couple of things going on right here within this program where I might have to get the Alliance Defending Freedom involved with some of the threats, some of the bad things that are happening in this area. I'm not going to stand back and take garbage from any group or any individual. And right now, after you pick up the newspaper in the morning and you start seeing all these crazy, crazy stories about what they do at a play on Broadway in New York City against Vice President-elect Mike Pence, they absolutely ridicule him and denounce him in front of a complete audience. And a family of a Gold Star hero that gave his life in Afghanistan is booed off of an airplane. And the lyrics and some of the commentary that happened at the American Music Awards last night, absolutely filthy and denouncing the new president-elect. A course at a Mission, California school system teaching how to fight back and denounce Donald Trump as your president. I mean, this thing goes on and on and on. And the right sits there, and conservatives sit back, and we go, oh, gee, well, maybe it'll go away. No, it's not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. When you read headlines about 2 students at a Texas high school and their teacher putting out a play about a mock assassination of Donald Trump. Or the city of Bloomington, Indiana. Oh, these great big elitists sitting in their comfortable leather chairs saying, well, we deem Good Friday and Columbus Day as being culturally insensitive, so you can't call it that anymore. The heck I can't! And I will. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Zeb, settle down a little bit.
Oh, Bob, let me tell you something. There is a time and a place to get upset, and there is a time and a place to fight back. And we've reached that point, and I won't take any lackadaisical attitude.
I'm glad. I'm for you 100%. Hey, I'm out here to Declo. I just came from Ray Bagby's place. You ought to see that wagon they're building. Holy cow, it's really something.
Well, you're not talking about a wagon. You're talking about a stagecoach.
I'm talking about a stagecoach.
Yes, it's
right.
It's amazing.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
You know, Ray Bagby and his people that work for him, nice people, they have got so much talent. They are artists, and people don't appreciate the wonderment that they've created out there.
It's really something. Have a good day, Zeb, and I'm for you 100%.
All right, Bob. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye.
You know, the problem is, and I appreciate that call, but I am upset. I see so many values in our country going down the drain. And I see so many of the young people going, oh, well, gee, that's too bad we can't call it Good Friday anymore. Oh, what's for lunch? You know, when are you going to stand up and say to yourself, whoa, stop the bus? Little by little, inch by inch, step by step, like an Abbott and Costello old rerun of a movie and some of the humor that they had in there. They're taking over. The liberals are taking over, and we're not fighting back. I am. I'm not going to quit. I can't stand And I mean that. I can't stand the filth and the absolute discord that the left is trying to wreak in our society. Don't forget our friends at Streamline Precision. And, of course, my buddy Tim Vaughn, 431-7314. You remember that number. All you have to do is call Streamline Precision today and find out about all the things they can do on your dairy, your farm, your business. I mean, man, now is the time. If you're thinking about remodeling or building new structures, now, right now, NOW is the time to get a hold of them and get a bid and an estimate and get work started so you've got everything done by next spring. Call Tim today at 431-7314. The best Streamline Precision serving you. I got time for one more call. Give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Coming up next hour, and I have not had a chance to preview this at all, we have Rachel Alexander coming up at 10:06, and you're probably saying, what do you mean you didn't have time to preview it? Well, what happened was, because this is the Thanksgiving week, a lot of my guests, etc., called and said, I can't be on this week, I'm going to be gone. Well, thank God, a good friend of mine, Matt Martini, back in Washington, D.C., lined up Rachel Alexander to be on the program, and she's going to be talking about some of the different categories of government, whether it's Secretary of Defense, whether it's Secretary of State, White House Press Secretary, etc., that Trump is filling as we speak, as a matter of fact. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good morning again. You know, this deal in Indiana, I think it's Bloomington, did you say?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Anyway, if every adult in Indiana went to the state capitol and protested, what would happen is George Soros would come in and write a great big check, and nothing would be done.
Unfortunately, I think you're right. The left has got a lot of big money behind it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to quit. I don't care about the left. I don't care about George Soros. I don't care about Tom Steyer. I don't care. They put their pants on one leg at a time like I do. They might be more expensive pants, but I'm not going to weaken and kowtow to these people. I'm going to stand up, look them in the eye, spit in their eye, and say, back up, Jack.
Let me ask you something, Zeb. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to be going to Las Vegas for a little while. On the back of my SUV, I have an oval-shaped Trump sticker. Would it be in my best interest to take that off when I go there?
I will tell you this, my dear friend, and I mean this. If you feel compelled for your safety and well-being that it might cause negativity or harm to you and your lovely wife, I would take it off. But if you're like me, I would put on a bigger one just to make sure that I stick it in the eye of the liberals that are knot-headed and almost insane.
Well, they are insane, and that's why I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet. But you know, you park your car in a big parking lot where there's many cars, you know.
Yeah. Somebody
walks by that and sees a sticker and throws a rock through your back window.
Well, I want to wish you the
all the time down there.
I know. I want to wish you all the safety and everything and well-being. I've got to run to the news, but you use your own discretion. I would never ask anybody to put themselves in jeopardy because there's a lot of insane crazies out there. God bless you and thank you for your call, and please be careful down there, okay?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, then. Thanks.
You bet. Take care. Got to run to the news next from CBS. I'll be back in about 6 minutes. Don't go away. Very, very sad about what happened in Elko, Nevada with that plane crash. Our hearts go out to those folks and their families. And, boy, that's just a tragedy down there. We really feel compassion towards everyone involved. Zeb at the Ranch right now. Don't forget, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. And don't forget, too, our advertisers, like Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Call, get on the route service today, 734-6969. Want to remind you again about our friend Tim Vaughn and Streamline Precision. They can build for you, will build for you, can get it done just right for you. All you need to do is call them today. Now is a great time, the winter months all the way through March, to get those buildings up and ready to go for your spring use, and whether it's on the farm, the ranch, whatever. Please call for a bid today on the new core steel buildings, prime buildings, Sucup buildings. They absolutely can help and enhance your business. So please call Tim Vaughn today at Streamline Precision, 431-7314. Tim Vaughn, the best serving you at Streamline Precision. Also, I want to brag again on Anthony over at Save on Shells, 1827 Overland in Burley. That's where I bought my camper shell for my pickup, and you can save a lot of money on the new ARE shells and used shells. Quality, it is. Service, you bet. Low prices right there. And if you're home for Thanksgiving with your pick-em-up truck and saying to yourself, well, I got to take back all this stuff, and I've got an open bid on my pickup, now is the time to stop over to Save on Shells. Call Anthony, the best, at 312-1525. Very personable, very trustworthy, and service absolutely impeccable. At Save on Shells, you call them today. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I want to say thank you to this lady for coming on at the last minute, quite frankly. Rachel Alexander with the stream, and God bless you, Rachel. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
You know, I don't know what I would do without some of the great people that work with me and for me, lining up all these guests. And I'm very fortunate to have you on this program this morning because it's so timely with your article that was written by you, Who's Who in Trump's Cabinet and Leadership Possibilities. You know, Rachel, how would you respond before we get into these different categories about the liberal left, the insane liberal left? Oh, Trump is so late. Why, it's in complete disarray. My goodness, it's like somebody tipped over the Monopoly board. Everything is just helter-skelter. But yet, Trump's cabinet right now is way ahead of even Obama's or most others.
Yeah, I mean, people really underestimated Trump. I mean, he is a go-getter. He is, you know, how do you think he became so successful? He's a tireless worker. You know, I hear he never sleeps. And he's putting together this cabinet that's just to the delight of conservatives. And what I point out in my article is since the GOP establishment elite types, you know, the northeastern business Republicans, you know, deserted him during the election, he's going with all the stuck with him. So you've got all these Heritage Foundation, you know, staffers on the transition team who are going to end up with positions. And for people, for positions like press spokesperson, instead of some, you know, bland type of, you know, not very partisan person, he's considering Laura Ingraham and Kellyanne Conway. I mean, these are conservative right-wing pundits.
You know, I was looking at the list of people, and let's start, first of all, with Secretary of State. I'd like to get your opinion, as you are very well and very knowledgeable about certain individuals that might fit the bill for the Secretary of State position. But I will tell you that I'm not in favor of Rudy Giuliani taking that position. I think he'd be better served as a Homeland Security expert. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, because Rudy Giuliani doesn't have foreign policy experience. It does seem like it would make more sense for him to, you know, do the local thing. And right now I'm hearing that it's actually Mitt Romney's the number one choice for Secretary of State right now. So Giuliani isn't even, you know, the most serious one being considered. And then there's still a few other names, including, you know, South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, John Bolton, the U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Senate Foreign Relations Committee Chairman Bob Corker, and Richard Haas, President of the Council on Foreign Relations.
You know, the list goes on of people. I am very optimistic. I should say this up front, Rachel. I'm very optimistic with the Trump administration. What about Secretary of Defense? I've got my own favorite there, but I'd like to hear who you would like to see with that title.
You know, I wonder, some of these names are really good. I mean, retired Marine General James Mattis right now is the number one contender, they're saying. Trump just met with him on Saturday.
Right.
But some of these other names, I like them as well. I mean, you've got Senator Tom Cotton from Arkansas. You've got Senator Jim Talent, former senator from Montana. Former George Bush National Security Advisor Stephen Hadley. Clinton CIA Director Jim Woolsey. And Senator Kelly Ayotte from New Hampshire. We had four-star Army General Jack Keane was offered the job, but he's declined.
Right. Now, I will tell you that I personally lean towards the general that you mentioned previously. I think that we need a very strong hand in the Department of Defense. We need someone that's going to say, this is what we need, this is what we want, and this is what's going to happen to make sure that the United States is feared and respected around the globe. And I think that general is absolutely the man that I would put in charge.
You just convinced me. That makes sense. Not a career politician, but instead someone who's actually been out in the field. Yeah.
You know, for Attorney General, you know, here's where I'm kind of questioning this thing. We saw what happened with the likes of Eric Holder with the Obama administration, but what are your thoughts about Trump? I washed my mouth out with soap for saying that. But what are your thoughts about Trump naming Senator Ted Cruz for the Attorney General position?
Oh, wait, he's going with Sessions now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like Sessions. I mean, I would have been fine with Cruz as well, but I think Senator Jeff Sessions is equally as conservative, and I think we need an activist person in that position. You know, being an attorney myself and a former prosecutor who was abused by prosecutors, we need someone who is going to be aggressive and clean up the DOJ. And I just posted an article on Facebook a few minutes ago about how Sessions can stop all these malicious prosecutions of conservatives. You know, my friend, former Congressman Rick Renzi, who's still in prison, wrongly imprisoned, and so we need to clean that department up. It's gotten so bad.
I misspoke when I said Ted Cruz. I meant to say that I wanted you to comment about Jeff Sessions. There seems like the liberal left has come out of the woodwork, and they're trying to throw a bunch of KKK statements that he had made years ago, and they're trying to really denounce this man. Personally, I like Jeff Sessions. I think he's got a lot of power. What I meant to say is, where would you put, if any place, Ted Cruz into your cabinet?
Oh, okay. Gosh, let's see. I'm trying to think what his skill set would apply. I mean, obviously, that would have been perfect for him, Attorney General, but since that's no longer an option, maybe one of his advisors. Homeland Security seems to be a possibility, but...
Yeah, but you see, there though, I interrupt you a little bit there, Rachel. That's where I think Rudy Giuliani, with his expertise of running a security company for many, many years in New York City, nobody knows more about homeland security than Rudy Giuliani. I think that's his niche right there.
Yeah. I mean, he might be a better fit there than Cruz, but I do have... I personally prefer Cruz over Giuliani just because Giuliani is so liberal, and Cruz is much more in line with conservative.
You know, there's one department that I would like to see abolished, and I would like to, if they're not abolished, I would love to see them curtailed and controlled much more than what they are, and that's the EPA. What would you do about the Environmental Protection Agency?
I agree with you, but the one exciting thing when I was reading through the names that are being considered for the EPA is he's looking at some pretty anti-EPA people to head it up. One of the top choices is Leslie Rutledge, the Attorney General of Arkansas, and she's the lead challenger of EPA regulations in Arkansas.
Right.
So, maybe she could, start demolishing it and dismantling it if she's appointed head.
Of all these different departments and all these different titles, when you look at this, as far as who might be appointed, etc., how much trouble do you think they'll have in getting a thumbs up, a yes vote to assume those cabinet positions?
Well, they're saying that Sessions is the big one that the Democrats are going to be objecting to. I don't think any of the other names I've seen arise are terribly controversial, but I don't see the left, protesting too many of the other ones. And of course, a couple of the appointments that Trump has made already do not need to be confirmed by the Senate. That's let me just for their names. Reince Priebus. And then the other one was Steve Bannon,
right.
the former editor of Breitbart,
right.
Who Trump made his chief strategist and senior advisor. So, yeah, I think Sessions is going to be the real fight, and I think he'll ultimately be confirmed because the left is really over-exaggerating his history, but it will get nasty.
You know, when you write an article like this for the stream and you develop a lot of time and effort into picking and possibly throwing names into various positions, I noticed that one category, unless I overlooked it, I didn't see it on the list, agricultural secretary. I think that is a very important position, and that's not on this list.
That's because you're in Idaho, and, I'm in Phoenix and a big city gal, so I totally overlooked it. But actually, when I compiled my list, I was just sort of going off of other news articles, and pretty much almost no other news articles covered it, except I finally found there's one I linked to at the very end of my article that Politico did. And I do agree that is an important position, though, and there's some interesting names being considered there, including Sam Brownback of Kansas, 3 other former governors, including Rick Perry, and then Sid Miller, who's the Secretary of Agriculture in Texas, who got in trouble for calling Hillary a really bad word on his Twitter campaign account recently.
When I will say this, and I'm certainly appreciative of everything you put in the story, but when I get involved with agriculture, it's kind of paid my bills for the last 40 years. And a country that can't feed itself efficiently and have a good agricultural program is a country that's going to be subservient to any other government that wants to come in and take it over. I mean, energy and food are the 2 most important categories, and sometimes food and agriculture and the Secretary of Agriculture, I think they minimize the importance, and that, I think, is a shame.
Yeah, no, you bring a very valid point. And again, I mean, even, me, I've omitted it because the other ones omitted it. And so, you're right, it should be covered. And do you think, Zeb, that the right person might be the Sid Miller just because he's got all the experience already as a Secretary of Agriculture in Texas?
I think you've got to have a person that is so well versed in all aspects of agriculture and that cannot be, if you'll use the term, bought off on trade agreements, etc. That's my biggest concern right now, Rachel, is that our country is going to be subservient to trade agreements that are going to maybe help one aspect of our economy and then hurt others. And I don't think that we've really had a diligent study of trade agreements as to how they pertain to agriculture and the overall scope of the consumer and the producer. I don't think they've done the job on that category.
Yeah, and that could be a completely separate article in something for you with your soapbox to get the word out that this has been neglected for too long.
Well, look at all the countries in the world. When the food supplies were cut off, you've got total control over the people. That and the right to bear arms. Look at Nazi Germany back in the 1930s and early 40s. And food production, everything was at a standstill. We need a strong agricultural company and base. I shouldn't have said company. We need a strong agricultural base here in this country, and the minute that's gone, then we're subservient to imports, and if imports are cut off, we're just another third world nation. And I think that department, along with our Secretary of Defense, are two very important departments.
Yeah, no, you're opening my eyes. I hadn't really thought about that much because I don't run into that area in my personal life as much, but I think that there's going to be a change with Trump. I mean, it's not going to be the wink, wink, nod, nod attitude anymore that we've seen with the Obama administration.
Do you think that the man, a lot of the, let's say the political hype, was nothing more than window dressing during the campaign? I have heard many, many people tell me that Trump is a very good listener. Trump is a very distinct man about making a decision after he's had conference with other people. I think this man is going to be kind of like the old front building in the Old West, kind of a false front building. I think a lot of people that are negative towards Trump only saw the one side during the election hype, but I honestly believe this man could be one of the best presidents of conservative nature with good people behind him that this country's ever seen. Your thoughts?
Exactly. I was just talking with my folks about that today and how, he actually could end up being a lot like Ronald Reagan. I mean, we're seeing it with all these conservative appointments that he does. And, my big boss at the Stream, the televangelist James Robinson, meets with Trump on a fairly regular basis, and it gives him counsel. And he said that he is responsive, he listens, he appreciates his advice, and he can tell he's a real deal. And, if he wasn't conservative before, he's definitely, moved in that direction significantly.
When you write these various stories for the Stream, and I've got one more question I want you to answer here this morning for me, and you hear about all the idiocy that's going on across this country in disavowing Trump, like what happened at the Hollywood play, not Hollywood play, but the New York play the other night on Broadway when the cast and crew of Hamilton went to the front of stage right, and Mike Pence and his family were there, and the cast denounced him and Donald Trump. And then you hear other stories like this. When is the left going to accept the fact there's a new sheriff in town and we all should try to unify and make this country better?
And they're not. I mean, you've heard how they're trying to get the electors in the various states to change their votes. They're still trying to get Hillary in. And these protesters have said, I know some of the ones in Pennsylvania have said, they're going to continue protesting right up through the inauguration. They're not even going to stop. So, and then I hear once he's in as president, they're going to look into impeaching him.
Yeah. And then you hear about school systems that are offering classes on being anti-Trump. This whole society is a liberal cesspool. We've got a call. I've got time for one short phone call. Caller, go ahead. You're on the air, please.
Yes, well, Zeb, you just brought up the play Hamilton, and it's about, the Founding Fathers. And, I said this earlier today, and then it was confirmed by somebody else, that they don't even know their history enough to know that it is about the Founding Fathers. All they know is their lines. And because the Founding Fathers are the reason why we elected Donald Trump. I'll hang up.
All right. Respond to the caller quickly if you would, Rachel. Thank you.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. I mean, Trump is trying to rule this country like the Founding Fathers did. And, and that's why I wrote in one of my articles, you can't say Trump's not intellectual because he actually does care about the foundation of this country.
Rachel, I appreciate your on short notice being on the program this morning. God bless you, and thank you so much. Rachel Alexander writes for The Stream. And if you write an article on food and the Secretary of Agriculture, I'd love to have it sent to me, and I'll get you right back on the air, okay?
I love it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Rachel Alexander with The Stream about some of the cabinet positions that are now currently being filled by the new Trump administration. We've got to pay some bills here real quick. Let's see. Don't forget on Thursdays, and we won't have a show on Thursday, being that it's Thanksgiving, but we want to say thank you to the sponsors of Cassia County School Days. Of course, they are A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley. They've got everything over there for you and your family. They've got all the Cherokee scrubs. They've got all the shoes. They've got all the family games and books and puzzles and children's clothing. Oh, my goodness. What are you waiting for? Get in there today. A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, along with Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Avenue in Burley. Number to call, 677-8888. They can save you money on outpatient surgery. They have for over 16 years. Call them at 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you school days in Cassia County, and that program is on Thursdays at 10:10. But because of the fact that Thanksgiving is this Thursday, we will not have a program. So there you go. Happy Thanksgiving. While we have an opportunity, I also have some other businesses that want to wish you and yours a very happy Thanksgiving, and they include Vicky's Country Gardens at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Wow, what nice people. Vicky is absolutely phenomenal. Don't forget, gift certificates for Christmas, but she first of all wants to wish you and yours a great Thanksgiving. Give thanks for what you have. Vicky's Country Garden in Paul. Along with Pickett Equipment Company, 976 East Main in Burley. I know these folks, have known them for over 40 years. Great folks. Innovation has fueled Pickett Equipment Company from its birth to way till now. From the mid-70s till the 2000s. Absolutely shipping equipment all over the world. Happy Thanksgiving from Pickett Equipment Company. And AMI 719 Overland in Burley. Look for the big 28-foot ranch over their door, and you'll go nuts over their bolts. Absolutely. Alan and Corey, Eric, Rob, the rest of the crew, wishing you a very happy Thanksgiving. Right now, I am going to send it back over to our main studios for Wheels and the crew to have some announcements during the 10:30 break. When I come back, I'm going to be very honored to have back on the program. It's been quite a while. Attorney James Herson from California talking about Hollywood, some of the stars, some of the nutcases going after the Electoral College. Should be interesting. Stay tuned.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Oh, my goodness sakes. I have not had this next gentleman on my program for way too long. His schedule didn't coincide with my schedule, and we didn't make connection. It is a welcome back party for attorney and knowledgeable man down in California, James Herson. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Do you have another number for him, sir?
Don't you dare tell me that he's not available.
Yes, sir. I left him a voicemail the first time, and then I just tried calling him again now, and he still won't answer.
I'm going to, over the air, give you a quick number. Write this down, 714-614-0401. Call that right away.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Well, there we go. After all that build-up, he's not there. We were going to talk about Hollyweird and some of the... You know, what's the matter with these Hollywood actors and actresses and singers? And just give them a little fame. Just give them a little fame. When they take that little fame and then they climb up on their soapbox. And at that little fame that they have gathered, they all of a sudden have the intellect of a college professor. And now we have many in Hollywood that have set their sights on attacking the Electoral College. So we're going to hopefully get James Herson on the air. Deanne, he was not at that primary number, so if you could see somehow maybe to get a hold of him. On our end, Wheels is trying the cell phone number, and maybe we can reach him for this morning. He was guaranteed that he was going to be at that number, so let's try that again. Calls are welcome in the interim, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a call. Love to talk to you this morning. Boy, would I love to talk to you now that we don't have a guest. So the format is open, and it's all yours. Please give us a call right now. I was listening to a commentary the other day on television, and it was about there was a liberal and there was a conservative going back and forth with each other, and all of a sudden this conservative, and I cannot remember her name to save my life, she was a black lady and very well versed on what has happened with the Obama administration, and she said something that I hadn't thought of before. Maybe I'd read it and I kind of glanced over it and never paid much attention to it, that Obama will go down in history as the worst president ever in regards to helping keep seats for his party in the Senate and the House. In other words, there have been more seats lost and seats that have not been retained or taken over while he was president. He'll go down in history as the worst president ever in regards to helping keep seats for his party in Congress. So keep that in mind when somebody says, well, Obama did this and Obama did that. You can throw that in their face because that's a fact right there. He is the worst ever in regards to helping keeping seats. And really, what is his legacy? You know, really think about that. What is his legacy? Let's take this caller and see what they have to say. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Thank you for your time and your call. Hello?
Hold on, sir.
Let's get him on. Caller, good morning. What's the problem, Wheels? Where's the caller?
Oh, I was just going to say, I just aired the cow because that was James Herson for you.
Where is he?
Oh, he's on the phone.
All right, thank you very much. I'm glad we found him. Here's a gentleman that has been away from this program way too long, and I'm looking forward to having him on the show this morning. James Herson from Hollywood, California. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, Zeb. How are you?
You know, it's been a long time no talk to. What in the world have you been doing over the last 6 months? I haven't had you on this program for a long time.
Well, you know, I've been out there ever since Donald Trump announced. I wrote an article about the positive aspects of him being the president. I've been looking at the polls, looking at the coverage, and I watched, actually I have a friend who's a barrister that in the UK. I watched the Brexit vote, and I was out there predicting that Donald Trump would win. And at the time, nobody believed me. But I feel like it's a miraculous event because for me, I sometimes practice in front of the United States Supreme Court. We saved the Supreme Court. I think we saved the Republican Party, which was going to be in disarray. And it's the opposite now. The party's unified, and the Democrats are in disarray. And we saved the country, the culture of our country, and possibly Western civilization. That remains to be seen. But I'm very optimistic and excited about Trump's agenda.
Okay, but James, wait a minute. With your expertise, and you've been on this program a lot, I absolutely value your opinion. What about the crackpots, the weirdos, and the ne'er-do-wells and the malcontents in Hollywood and other places? All they're doing is stirring up strife. All they're doing is stirring up hatred. Look at the play called Hamilton on Broadway, what the cast did to Michael Pence. That was absolutely low class. Look at what some of these Hollywood actors are doing. What about the left? It just seems like they won't sit down and shut up.
Of course not, Zeb, because this is a strategic battle. And so as soon as they realized that Trump won, then the movement was then geared towards undermining his legitimacy and giving ammunition to those that would obstruct his agenda, which includes, of course, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and their party, and the mainstream media and the people that collude with them. And so what we have are rent-a-mobs that are paid for by organizations funded by George Soros, the same people, they change their names. They're Occupy Wall Street, they're Black Lives Matter, now they're protesters of Donald Trump's election. They're the same people. And they've already been reports. People were bussed in to these urban centers where they have the protests. They also have attacks on the Electoral College. Legislation introduced in the Senate by Barbara Boxer and in the House by Nancy Pelosi to abolish the Electoral College, legislation that will go nowhere, but at the same time we see petitions being circulated either to abolish the Electoral College or to have the electors in the Electoral College ignore the law and tradition and vote for Hillary Clinton because of the supposed win in the popular vote, which is questionable. And so it's all part of an agenda, and what I just recently wrote an article about is there's a crisis being promoted by the mainstream media where they talk about, quote, fake news, close quote. And the lists of fake news sites, of course, include most of the conservative sites, and particularly the sites that supported Donald Trump. And this is an attempt to get the big giants in the internet world to censor out conservative opinions. So it's all part of the battle that's going on. They've lost badly, and fortunately for the American people, their condescending elitist attitude blinds them to the wisdom of ordinary people who can see through this stuff, who did after being pummeled for a year and a half, saw through it, went to the polls, ignored all the media stories, and voted for the future of the United States of America, much like the people in the United Kingdom did. So I think we have to view it what it is. This is strategy. It's a battle. It's an attempt at altering our perception, and it's not going to stop.
You know, James, when I think of the likes of Sean Penn or Lady Gaga or whomever, many of whom in Hollywood were barely able to get a high school diploma, but now that they've had the star status because somebody wrote a script and a director told them where to walk and what to say, etc., in various segments, now they're considered stars and their IQ has jumped up to 543. How many of these people really understand the value of what the Electoral College is and why it was set up by our forefathers to create an equality of voting across our country? But I don't think they understand that.
Oh, you're absolutely right. No, I think, unfortunately, our educational system has been infiltrated, and civics used to be taught where we learned about what the meaning of a constitutional republic. There's a very important meaning. Why do we have two houses in Congress? We have a Senate and we have a House. The House, the number of representatives are based on population, so California has the most members of the House. But California only has 2 senators, and Idaho has 2 senators.
Right.
And guess what? If we had a presidential election based on the popular vote, the presidential candidates would never visit Iowa. They'd never visit North Carolina. They wouldn't even visit Michigan. I mean, the fact is they'd be coming to the most highly populated places, and the resources of the federal government would go to the most highly populated places. And that's why the genius of a constitutional republic and the idea of a bicameral legislature having one house based on population, the other just based on state sovereignty was brilliant. And, the whole notion of a battleground state wouldn't exist in our country if we went by the popular vote. But that being said, if we look at the empirical facts that in 2012, when Barack Obama won his reelection, studies showed that there were 1.6 million illegal aliens voting in that election. Now, the Hispanic vote was much higher in the Trump campaign, and I think it's safe to say that the illegal aliens voting would be higher, especially when the president urged them to go out and vote and said there would be no ramifications if they voted illegally. And therefore, Hillary Clinton did not win the popular vote, if you take that into account.
That's right.
But that's something, of course, the media and the left-wing people on the social media ignore, and they're using this popular vote story to try to undermine the legitimacy of the Trump presidency.
Now, you said a few moments ago, and I think maybe I'm a little bit more concerned than you are, that this thing won't get any legs and it won't run a race as far as trying to get rid of the Electoral College. But when you have people like former Attorney General Eric Holder in the fray denouncing the Electoral College with a quote that he said, "We have to just abolish the Electoral College," will this thing take on more power and more support and more legs, if you will? I'm concerned about that.
Well, here's where the concern is. It's not so much abolishing the Electoral College. Where the concern has been is that there's been a movement to have individual states essentially abandon the notion that their electors have to follow the individual state vote, instead follow the popular vote of the nation. And there's been a substantial number of states that have basically passed legislation to that effect, but they're in the states that Hillary would get the electors anyway. They're in the blue states. So it hasn't been a threat, but it would have been a threat if the borders had stayed open.
Right.
And all the states had turned blue, then it would have been a huge threat. But the fact is, it's very difficult to amend the Constitution, and that's what it requires, where you not only have to have two-thirds of Congress approve it, but then you also have to have three-fourths of the states and the state legislatures jump on this, and that just wouldn't happen in the current structure. So, you were talking about what Barack Obama has done to the Democrat Party. What he's done, one of the things he's done, is created the highest number of Republican state legislature-dominated houses in the states in the history of the country.
Right.
So the idea that they're going to get 75% of those state legislatures to stand up and abolish the Electoral College that just gave the Republican Party, the House, the Senate, and the executive branch, that's a long way to walk. I don't see that at all.
James, you live in a world down there in California, and you go all over the country, but you live in an area where elitism is absolutely, it's just like a cancer growing. I mean, they've got their noses so far up in the air, if it rains, they'll drown. Where do these people get off thinking they're so much better than the flyover states and other people across this country? Elitism is a cancer that I think is hurting this country. How do we change it?
Well, elitism certainly is found in Hollywood. There's no question about it. And elitism is one of those things, you can't get rid of it because it's part of freedom. There are people that are going to be very successful, and there are people who are going to associate, they're going to have their country clubs, and they're going to wear their checked pants on the golf course, whatever they do, and think they're better than the rest of us. The problem in Hollywood, and it was... it's been shown in fiction, but it's in reality, is the power of the entourage. And that is people with great big egos in Hollywood surround themselves with a bunch of yes men or yes persons, and those people tell them that every word that comes out of their mouth is genius, that everything they do is wonderful. They're always wonderful because those people usually are living off of the celebrity in question. And my advice to my clients and people I talk to in Hollywood is don't do that. Don't allow that, because it's a path to destruction. We think of the celebrities whose lives ended in real calamity. You think of somebody as talented as Elvis. The entourage was a big part of Elvis's downfall. Mm-hmm. Anna Nicole Smith. I can go on and on about celebrities, Michael Jackson, who had these people that were basically sucking the life out of them and telling them that their life was great and their decisions were great when they were actually making decisions that led to destruction.
Right.
So elitism in its most malignant form is just a form of sick narcissism. And in the long run, it kind of takes care of itself as it is now. It's narcissism, I believe, and arrogance that would lead somebody like Bill and Hillary Clinton to be able to think they could get away with the pay for it, and even to call it pay for flight, the Clinton Foundation shenanigans, which really involves selling out the United States of America for their personal gain.
Absolutely.
Now the Clinton Foundation donations have dried up. Senator Sessions is going to be the Attorney General. I can't imagine that he's going to stop those investigations, and their elitism will have caused a terrible price in their life.
One quick question. I've only got about 2 minutes left in this segment. We talked briefly about another piece that you had written about fake news. Let me just say my position on this. I am very concerned about having anyone or any group of people ascertain to me whether news is fake or real or whether I should read it. I don't want censorship in my free society. I do my own investigatory means of finding out whether stories are valid. What are your thoughts on this? I'm very concerned about somebody having control over any news.
Well, sure. It's kind of like the idea of central planning with the economy. When you have people deciding what products we should have and what the prices should be, rather than letting the free market do its work. Same thing with ideas. That's why the Founding Fathers called it the marketplace of ideas. And the problem with these mainstream media people using so-called fake news as a crisis, and the solution is getting, for example, Facebook to police what is fake and what is real. Well, then immediately other media outlets circulate lists of fake news sites that need to be censored. And on the list are conservative news sites. What do you know? But not on the list are places like CNN that leaks questions to candidates and colludes and seeks interview questions from the DNC, and places like the New York Times that prints false stories and then never retracts them. So, yes, I agree with you. Let the market decide what is fake and what is real, and do not have basically an idea death panel determining what is fake and what is real. And Zuckerberg ought to know better, Mark Zuckerberg, who runs Facebook, because he already went through a scandal like this with the trending topics section of Facebook, where he had editors writing headlines and cherry-picking, and they got caught in blatant bias against right-of-center posts. And we see this in the digital world. Google has their search suggestions throughout the entire campaign. If you put Trump's name in, you got very negative suggestions, and Hillary's name in, you got very positive suggestions. It was manipulated. But thankfully for the wisdom of the people, they saw through it. They saw through the New York Times. They saw through the mainstream media. They even saw through the treachery of the Republican establishment. And they did what was better for the country.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm glad to have him back on the air. It's been a long time, and hopefully we'll shorten the time between when he's back again. James Herson, attorney from California. Thank you, James. Happy Thanksgiving. God bless you, man. Thanks so much.
God bless you. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and God bless all your listeners.
All right. Thank you, sir. Really enjoy having him on the program. He's a straight shooter about what's going on down in Hollyweird and other places. And we'll have him back soon before Christmas, I can guarantee you that. Oh, my goodness, we got to get a weather forecast on here really fast. Wheels is getting nervous over there. Weather brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. They can process all your wild game into various meats like salami, brats, jerky, breakfast sausage, etc. Get a hold of them, Scarrows Meats in Jerome. And right now, here's Gina with the weather.
Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch, and we do have a slight chance of rain showers for today, about a 50% chance, slightly breezy as well. Winds out of the southwest right around 11 miles an hour. High of 44 is what we're looking at for today. Tonight, low of 29. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and 47. Back to rain showers for Wednesday, high of 40. Mostly sunny for Thanksgiving Day itself, and a high of 44. Yesterday's high was 60. The overnight low was 42. That is your weather for Zeb at the Ranch.
Appreciate it, Gina. Thank you. And brought to you this hour by Don Scarrow and the crew. Great folks at Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657. They are changing the way we eat, one delicious bite at a time. Oh, my. I'll tell you about tomorrow's program in just a minute, but right now I want to talk about our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations, making sure that you drive safely this winter. We had a little bit of a kind of a sludge falling a little bit ago, kind of a snow and a rain type thing. Anyway, be careful. Get the best tires for your driving conditions. They've got all the tires for dry conditions, rain conditions, snow conditions, a lot of ice. Oh, my goodness, get in there today for your pickups, your cars, your SUVs. And believe me, they've got the tires that you can drive safely on. Please stop in and see them today. Excuse me, check out the great brake service, the front end alignments, the shocks and the struts, and the batteries. Don't forget, is your battery a little bit old? Have it checked. Maybe it's not going to get the job done this winter. You better get a new one. They've got the best at all 7 locations of your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, and of course Daniel on Pole Line in Twin Falls, and my buddy Randy on Overland in Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, the best. Tomorrow on the program, Frosty Woldridge, and then we're going to have attorney Norm Semenko talking about the environmentalists trying to do away with the dams again on the Snake and the Columbia. Dr. History will be here, and then a very interesting segment with Kyle Olson from eagnews.org, chief educational site. Oh my goodness, he's good. Talking about the idiocy that's going on in many school systems across America today. Left-wing controlled. That'll be all on tomorrow. Don't forget the way things were, or the way things ought to be. And I hope that you have a very nice day with your family, making all kinds of plans for a great Thanksgiving. Zeb at the Ranch. We'll be back here tomorrow at 8:06. God bless. We'll see you then.